Hi, how are you? I'm still here in Tuscany, Italy. It's 36 degrees Celsius warm, so it's a hot day. I promised that I'd tell you how did I plan this trip and when did it start. We started in December, I think, or we start always in December. In December we have a rough guess how much money we can spend on our holiday. What's the budget? And that's one quite important thing. If you don't know what you want to spend or what can you spend, I suggest that you do a little calculation. I might do another video on how to budget things because I do it all the time and I do it for our family. And after we know how much can we spend, then we ask the kids who is coming along. And then we have a count how many persons. Because I'm an entrepreneur, I want to take as long holiday as possible because it's likely that I have to work at some point. And I think that 2 weeks is roughly enough time to really relax, not just come and go. Well, with the budget and with the head account, it's usually my youngest daughter and I that sit on a computer and start to find the house. This is not a sponsored video by any means, but I use Airbnb. It's very convenient and it's easy app to use. So we put in how many persons and we put in our budget. Then I put in that it has to be a house, not apartment, because I respect our privacy. I want this to be just our family. And I wish to have a private pool. There wouldn't be any harm on sharing a pool, but in that case that the other family has some kind of different ideas of hygiene and sleeping and drinking and that kind of things, then it's not very nice to share a pool. So I prefer a private pool. And after that, we have somewhat 1,000 houses to look into. But of course, then we start to look at the areas. We have been mainly in Tuscany and like in the middle part of Italy. And there are lots of houses to choose from if you start on December or even before. And I like to start early because I don't like the feeling that I have to choose one of those that are still available. Because we, of course, have certain dates that we can travel. We cannot move our holiday to May. It's not possible. July is the month that I can take the time off, and that's that. And of course, kids don't have school in that month, so it's an obvious choice for us. Well, now we have a budget, head account, area, and a bunch of houses. Then me and my daughter, we start to scroll the houses. So we look those that look nice, that are on a nice area. And when we find, say, 20 houses, we look at the reviews. And I like that with these renting services, that there are reviews from previous visitors. Usually, if there is something inherently wrong, it's in some of those reviews. And then I just skip them. I don't want any inconveniences to my holiday. I don't want to be worrying if the rental car is going to make the road, because we usually rent a car. And there has to be a grocery store relatively close. Now in here we have the closest bakery in 5 minutes and a small grocery store, so this is an ideal location for that. After finding a suitable place or 5 alternatives, then I of course run them through my husband and he looks at them and thinks if there's something wrong with any of them, and then we choose and then we make a booking. I always because it's such a long time, like half a year or over half a year before, and everything is a little bit uncertain. So I tend to make bookings only to those houses that can be cancelled without any like financial losses. So those are on the priority lists, on the top of the priority lists. And there are quite many if you cancel relatively soon. But we have been fortunate. I think that we haven't cancelled any houses except for the year that COVID really hit. And of course it was understandable because the traveling was simply forbidden. So that was that. So now we have the house that we are going to be in. And then starts the fun part to look at what are we going to do. I've found it to be suitable for our family that we rest every other day and then every other day we take a trip. So we did that when we arrived here. First of all, we arrived on Tuesday and we were here in the afternoon, so it took a little bit time to get used to the house and find the pool and find the parking and everything. So we took the time to get settled on the first day. And of course there was the question is who is going to sleep in what bedroom, and it wasn't before without trouble this time either. There is upstairs and downstairs, and the downstairs is a little bit spooky, and there is 2 bedrooms downstairs and two bedrooms upstairs. But soon enough we got an arrangement, and my son and his girlfriend is sleeping downstairs because my son is big and bold, so he cannot be afraid. And then my daughter is sleeping with us upstairs because it wouldn't be fair to make her sleep alone downstairs. And on top of that, actually, my son is very happy because the downstairs is much more cooler, like throughout the day, than the upstairs is. The second day, we drove to the beach, or to the nearest town and the beach, and looked around and ate ice cream and relaxed and went to grocery store and found a bakery and did that kind of things. So we get really settled in here. But then we started our trips or our tours from here. First active day we went to the nearest town, Orbetello, in a beach, and looked what's in there. So there were a few small churches and excellent ice cream and lots of cats. And that was interesting to just look how the local people live in here. Then we strolled around our own village, which is nearby, Manciano, and there is a little over 10,000 inhabitants, so it's quite a small town. There isn't much services for tourists, but there is an excellent bakery and there are a few grocery stores that is suitable for us. And then we thought there was a rainy day coming, which is quite rare in here. And it was very welcome because it's hot. And we drove to nearby town that is a little bit bigger, Grossetto, and it has 82,000 inhabitants. And there are a few big churches that are really beautiful, and we went to visit those, and of course ate ice cream. Then my daughter did a little digging and found this area has been inhabited by Etruscs from 900 before Christ to 500 before Christ. And then the Romans came and the population mixed together slowly, and the Etruscan culture and language vanished. My daughter found a few burial sites that is in this area, and we visited one. It was in Soveno, and it was said in the various comments that it was the best kept burial site in the area. And it actually was. And it was quite exciting to visit there. Of course, we can visit in museums and see those artifacts and statues over there, but to actually see the place, what it was like. And there was even a few statues left. Unfortunately, and fortunately at the same time, the main pieces have been taken to museums hundreds of years ago. But that was interesting to be in, and something typical of this area. And at the same time, we visited, of course, the Church of St. Paul in Soveno, which is quite magnificent, and it's a big church for small town. But from that small towns, there have been a pope. There was one day trip that did not go as planned at all. There is a World Wildlife Fund bird sanctuary in the seashore, and we tried to visit that, or actually we did. I dug in that it was open only during weekends and a certain amount of time on the day, and we went there. And there was just long grass and old roads, and we walked about, and we didn't see a single bird. There was some kind of watch cabin, but all the roads to the watch cabins and to the seashore were closed for some reason, like with a chain and lock. So we didn't see a single bird, and it just smelled awful because of the plants brought in the seawater. So we drove and looked around the island and then drove back. But it's life. Sometimes that happens, and we cannot help it. But nobody was sorry. Of course, we ate ice cream, gelato once again, and came home and grilled beef. So that was a perfect day on a holiday too. But I really have to wonder, what are they thinking, keeping a bird sanctuary that nobody can actually go? But I don't know what has happened. Maybe something that we don't know. Then came the Saturday, which was, I think, the most fun day that we have had here. We got up in the morning and got something to eat and headed for the bakery before all the bread is gone. And there was a market in a square near the bakery, and we went there just to look at the things. And suddenly there was some music. Like, it's one of those things that you don't plan, but you're really happy to be there. So it was a start of a Manciano street music festival that we had no clue of, but it was fun. And we stayed in the market square and listened to the music quite a while, I think a few hours, before we headed to the bakery and left. So we have been here for 2 weeks, and tomorrow we are heading home. I could very well stay here and continue my life in this lovely house and in this lovely neighborhood, but for this summer is this. I hope you have a great summer vacation, and I hope to see you soon. Goodbye.